Hey guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Today I want to talk about the different types of budgets and what's best for you. Okay, we have the super low guys, the super low budgets. We have the low budgets, then we have the mid-range budgets, and then we have the high budgets, okay? Now, high budgets is the place where everybody wants to be if you could be there and if you had that kind of money. But we're going to start from the bottom. And let me tell you why. The people that come over here, and as I've mentioned before, we had a guy talking about living on $325. The guy was from Massachusetts. And I understand where he gets that idea from, because there's a lot of people that are like backpackers and they live really, really cheap. And nobody wants to live like a backpacker because it's almost like living homeless. They're living off other people, meeting up with people, hooking up with friends and stuff like that. The people are offering them food. They're eating over some of the locals' homes because they made friends with them, they offer them dinner or whatever. So they sit there and they eat their food. They don't have to buy any food. That's how they live. It's kind of like sponging off other people. I think that's a bad word because they're invited there, but you get my drift. It's kind of like you're looking for the next free meal. It's just the way it is. But I mean, you can live like that certainly, but it's not the way you would want to live, okay? And to live like that, man, it's almost living like a homeless person. You definitely can't live off 300. I can tell you unequivocally, you cannot live on 300 in the Philippines and live you won't even live a little bit decent. It'll be living in a squatter's area or what have you, and living really rough. Okay, it's not living well, and your food, you wouldn't be eating well either. You'd be eating rice and probably pasta, a little bit of chicken, a little bit of pork, and maybe some vegetables, things like that. Okay, so I don't recommend the super low budgets. Then you could go up a little bit higher, live probably on 500, live like a local Filipino. It's not fun. You don't have AC, you might have a fan going. You're just barely making it by. You're still not living well. You're living a little bit better than the guy that's living on like the 300, 350. You know, the locals here, a family usually makes between 600 to about 900 probably if they're educated, you know, and it's probably about the average somewhere in there. They live okay. They got a TV. They might have AC if they're lucky and just turn it on when they're sleeping or whatever. Most of the time they have a fan. They're sitting around, they're washing their own clothes, things like that. That's the next type of budget, okay? Now let me get into like the middle budget, okay? Middle budget would be more of like somebody 1,000 and above, somewhere around there. I would say middle would be maybe 1,000 to 1,500 or 1,600. You live in good. You have a TV. You probably have AC. You're eating a lot better. You're eating healthier. You're doing okay. You're making it. You have insurance. You're taking care of everything. You might be able to save a little bit. Might be able to invest a little bit here and there. Watch TV, get away once in a while. You probably don't have a car at that. You're taking public transportation. You probably can go to the mall a little bit more. You can probably save up and go on trips on occasion here and there. Maybe to like a resort or what have you on occasion. Things like that. You have a nicer home. You probably have your own refrigerators. Your house is cleaner, nicer, looks better. You're probably still living in a lower home. But lower does not necessarily mean worse. This home here is $80 a month, and this, I've showed this house many a times because I think it's a perfect example of what you can get over here and what people don't believe it when I tell them it's $80, but it's $80 for a 1-bedroom apartment over here, okay, in this area. In other areas, it's like 100 to 120, 140. In this area, for 140, you can get a 2-bedroom over here. Home, 140, 160, 2-bedroom home with a patio on the roof, a place to do your laundry, and it probably has air conditioning in it. Okay, for about 220 on up, you can get a 3-bedroom home, usually in a gated community, and you're living in a nice place. For about 100 to 140, you can get a 1-bedroom in a gated community, usually with a pool, that stuff. You get what you get what you pay for, but if you still want to live on a cheaper budget, it's basically just a paint job, and look at the place and say, what's this place look like? Is it clean? Is it nice? Try to look for new places if you can find them. They're around. We find them all the time. We manage to show these places. I mean, you can get a $300 a month home in Florida Sun over in General Trias, that area. Beautiful home with 2 pools on the property. Can't go wrong on that. You can't go wrong at all. Now, that's on the mid-level budgets, okay, that you can afford to start getting into those places. I tell people, if you're on the mid-level budget, why go mid-level, and start paying $240 or $300, unless you're looking for 3 bedrooms or whatever, and you want to have a different lifestyle. You have a lot of people coming over your house. You have a lot of friends coming over or whatever. You want to have that extra space. Yeah, then go for the spend a little bit more or what have you. But don't forget, when you pay more for rent, you take off the other money that you have for spending, going away, doing things like that. And also you have Wi-Fi costs, $30 just to get in, $70 for better, Wi-Fi, things like that. And your electric and AC bills, your water bills, all that. Now, let's kick it up a notch, okay? We're going to start talking about what can you get when you start getting into the sweet spot budget. Okay, the sweet spot budget means you're probably going to have better insurance. You can afford better insurance. You can start getting it up into like the $1 million coverage or $500,000 coverage or $250,000 coverage. You might need to have some money on the side to pay those bills and then submit the bills. And what they'll do is, they'll reimburse you or whatever. Just be sure, guys, that you're very careful about the insurance that you pick. And I always recommend Pacific Cross because of the fact that picks up a good chunk of your bill, and then if there's anything left over, they'll cover up to like about $30,000, for each incident that you have. So if you have a heart attack, they'll cover up to $30,000. You have to cover the rest. That's not too bad. I can live with that. But I just want to throw that out there. And once you start getting into these upper budgets, you can get into the places, the gated communities, and live well in those places. I mean, if you're looking for a huge home or something like that, you can still get even a huge home fairly cheap in the Philippines. I mean, I'm talking probably, maybe $1,000, $1,500 a month, something like that. If for $1,500 a month, you could probably get a place with private pool or what have you. But you're going to pay for that stuff. That's where want to be on the upper part of the sweet spot budget, possibly even higher than that, probably more. I would say $4,000 to live really well in those places, and if you wanted a maid or anything like that. But the sweet spot budget puts you in a spot where you're comfortable, where you might want to have a maid, you might not want to have a maid around the house to help you out. You can hire somebody to come in and clean every once in a while. You can go get a massage. You can go on vacation. You got money to save and spend. To places that you can go out whenever you want, pretty much on the sweet spot budget. You still kind of have to cut back and be careful of what you're spending, but that's the sweet spot budget. $2,000, $2,000 to $3,000, and if you're living above that, you don't have any concerns at all. Basically, you really don't. My budget is a decent budget over here. Okay, I live on a pretty decent budget, and I don't really like to spend too much money. I'm not a big spender or anything like that. I try to save. I try to invest. I try to have fun with my money. I enjoy investing. Like I invest in Tesla, and Tesla's up and down right these past couple of days because of Elon Musk selling off his stuff. But I mean, he's only selling off 10% of his holdings, I believe, something like that. And that's just a minor blip, and then the stock will come back, and we'll see it start going up again. But I want to throw this out there, guys. Remember, if you're going to retire, you want to be comfortable. If you're coming over here on these low ball budgets, don't even think about it. And I keep throwing this out there all the time, but people call me up and say, well, Steve, can I live on 800? Can I live on 600? You can, dangerously, okay? I'm going to say that. As an older gentlemen over here, living over here, you're going to be getting sick. You could get diabetes. And you guys say, that, well, I'm healthy now, but you're not going to be healthy forever. You're going to hit a point in your retirement where you're going to start getting sick. Age is going to catch up with you, and it's not going to be fun. And I'm starting to see that a little bit now. As I'm only 58. I'm probably one of the younger generation over here for retirees. But I mean, I pay a lot for ointments and things like that. And thank God my legs are finally starting to heal up and they're starting to look halfway decent. But I mean, you have to stay on top of your health here. Part of that is getting out, walking, exercising, and just taking care of yourself and watching what you eat. I like, for me, I need to get out and start losing some weight. We got some other expats that are coming over here, and I've already talked to them because they're going to be moving to my neighborhood, and we're going to be out there exercising, So, but anyway, guys, be careful on the budget you choose. I know every once in a while we talk about this just because we have a lot of newbies coming in here, and I think the doors are going to be flying open really, really soon. Really soon. I think within the next 2 to 3 months, we're going to see the doors fully open, expats coming in here. I mean, fingers crossed, prayers up, that we finally do open. I hope so. I really, really hope so for you guys, because I know you guys want to get in here. Just be careful, guys. Really think ahead. Go back to my older videos, follow my advice in those videos about what I tell you about having the emergency fund, about having, the startup fund, all that stuff. You need to have that stuff in place, guys. If you don't have that stuff in place over here, you're gonna be lost, because when you get here, there's a lot of startup costs. I tell people at a minimum have 5,000, at a maximum 10,000. If you really want high-end items, then go 15 or 20,000. It really depends on what you want, but at a minimum you need like 5,000, okay, to furnish your place. Because when you think about everything, you need towels, you need a mattress, you need a bed, refrigerator, cooking utensils. It adds up after a while. But you can get the basics on less than that if you want to live on the basics. But also, see that thing above me? That's the most important thing you need right there, is that AC unit. You need something like that. You definitely need AC, or you need a really, really good fan over here to keep yourself cool at night. Anyway, guys, God bless. Take care.